they're going to need more level.
It's like a rehearsal kind of setup. They want our cases hanging around and wires. And they took all these old 70s, 20s. Oh, it's very cool.
How's the boys doing in the bus? They're all right?
Great bands don't need to
They probably
rehearse.
couldn't even...
No, they heard.
They heard?
No, they
Well, of course they heard.
right away.
We prefer to live on the edge. Do our mistakes live in front of people.
What are we doing today? Guns, Rain Dance, Glamour Boy, No Time. What are the other two? Come on, give me a hint. Somebody give me a hint. Testing.
It's your pick. It's your choice. Okay. Yeah. If we could get this, it's a pretty good spot. I needed to go that way, but I don't think you can. Because of this.
Check. 1, 2.
They said they'll tape it if we'll play it.
You rolling, Mick?
Rolling.
Bring them up the north side.
Guns, guns, guns.
Run, take the money. Here's a bullet for your boyfriend.
Guns, guns, guns.
You be the red king, I'll be the unicorn.
Guns, guns, guns.
Eagle out gone and no more caribou. Godspeed, Mother Nature. Never really wanted to say goodbye. Godspeed, Mother Nature. Never really wanted to say goodbye. Godspeed, Mother Nature. You know that I'm crying out. Never really wanted to say goodbye. Godspeed, Mother Nature. Never really wanted to say goodbye. Where you gone? Where you gone? Shoot if you knock 'em down, cost you half a buck now.
Guns, guns, guns.
Babe, give you kisses if you hit a rubber duck now.
Guns, guns, guns.
You be the red king, I'll be the unicorn.
Guns, guns, guns.
The eagle all gone and no more caribou.
Guns, guns, guns.
The eagle all gone and no more caribou.
Guns, guns, guns.
The eagle all gone and no more caribou.
Guns, guns, guns.
No more. The eagle all gone and no more caribou. Godspeed, Mother Nature. I never really wanted to say goodbye. Godspeed, Mother Nature. I never really wanted to say goodbye. Where you gone?
Good to see you. How you doing? My name is Bill Welichka, and welcome to Much More Musics. The Guess Who in songs and words, and it's a very cool hour ahead as, well, we're going to put you front and center in the jam session circle with Canada's international legends. Very hot hour ahead. I'd like to say at this point, though, we got to welcome who's here from the Guess Who. Don't forget, all the classics will be heard, as well as some of the stories behind those classic songs. But first, way in the back there on the kit, Gary Peterson. How you doing, Gary?
Nice to see you.
On guitar, Donnie McDougall. Bill Wallace on bass. And you know, when you're this big, you have to say Mr. Randy Bachman, and of course, Burton Cummings. So, first of all, thanks for being here, and especially to you, Burton, because a very sleep-deprived Burton.
Chronic insomnia, but I'm trying my best.
Yeah?
Trying my
Fall
best.
asleep soon. In the middle of the show.
We gotta start playing then, get up again. Well, how was it to run back through Canada after all these years?
Fabulous.
Yeah?
What a wonderful summer. What a wonderful summer we had. We started in the Maritimes. We played every single province. It was wonderful. Halifax, we almost, we couldn't believe the response in the Maritimes. PEI, it was all wonderful, especially our hometown. It was great in Winnipeg.
I think it was Randy that called this tour specifically, this reunion tour, a sense of closure for you?
Well, you know, you choose different roads in life, and they take you somewhere. And sometimes very far away, and to be able to have the roads veer back together and get on it and go, wow, I've been on this road. This is the Trans-Canada Rock and Roll Highway. I love this road. I'm going to stay on it. It kind of just brought everything kind of back full circle.
I think one of the things that surprised all of us overwhelmingly was the demographic in the crowds. I mean, we'd look out some nights in the front row, there'd be 10-year-old kids mouthing every word we were singing, you know. And not everyone is lucky enough to have that. It's no secret, we're all over 50 in this band. The songs have been around for decades on the radio. The wondrous thing that happened is that we went back on the road playing this legacy of music under the umbrella of the Guess Who, and we came to the realization, the five of us, that the songs have never gone away. That's the most wonderful thing for me, and I think all of us this summer, is we realized after all these years the songs have never gone away. And there are kids that weren't even born when these records were cut, and they're standing there mouthing every word we sing. That's a wonderful feeling. Not everyone gets that. If you're really lucky in this business, you may get a nice 10-year window of success, and then it's goodbye, make room for the next guy. And I think every one of us, to a man here, would say what a fabulous feeling it was to see this people from 10 years old to 60 years old every night in the crowd.
There can never be, I'm thinking, a real proper reunion because you have too many people on the stage.
And Kurt is gone.
10 to 12
Tragically,
people.
Kurt has gone, so, you know, I think this is the best group that has ever performed under the name Guess Who, ever, by any stretch of the imagination. I don't think anyone would argue with that. This is the best lineup this band has ever had.
What constitutes that? Is it songs? Is it just the magic, the vibe emanating from you?
Best 5 players we've ever had together at one time. Best attitude, collectively, that we've ever had. The least amount of friction, the most amount of fun, I think.
Gary and Burton are the thread throughout. They were on every track. I was in the early part, and these two guys are from the later part, so we're all comfortable doing the entire umbrella of songs from the first to the end. It's a lot of fun.
As far as going out and playing the stuff, hell, we're doing 2.5 hours, and there's still 10 more hit records that we're not playing, you know? I don't have a problem with that. I don't know about the other 4. I can only speak for myself. I have no problem playing these songs forever.
To look out and see the faces from 10 to about maybe 70 years of age, and everyone has a different look. Some guys are crying because this is like a big deal to them, and some kids have just learned it and they're happy to do the lyrics, and somebody else is dancing, and just to get that feedback. And I've seen the tour called, you know, Selling Memories or Time Travel, Time Cheating, because literally on stage, I feel like it's 30 years ago. I feel like I'm, you know, 25, 30 years of age. We all feel that way at times. I look over, I see Burton 20 years of age sometimes at a gig. It's just incredible flashbacks for us all, and I imagine that way for the audience.
Okay. Nice to see, as well, the first few notes into a song.
Oh, the instant recognition.
All of a sudden, people start clapping, jumping up and down.
That's a wonderful thing. I can sit there and just go, and you hear this, and those first few notes of a few things. He starts Let It Ride. He starts down, 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 and all of a sudden there's this. That's wonderful, man. You dream about that when you're 14 in your first band, you know. So, as I say, like, I think all of us feel the same way. We don't have a problem playing these songs forever. I don't care.
Actually talking a lot about the most recent successful Running Back Through Canada reunion tour. One of the things that happened when I was leaving, and I noticed a lot of people talking about this, and for about a week after, with people that were there, Randy's a good guitar player, huh?
A week?
Wow, I didn't know he could play like that. Is what I was hearing.
What, have they been living under a rock? This guy's Canada's guitar god, you know? Are you kidding me? This is the original guy. Before Alex Lifeson, before all these other guys.
Yeah, but
this
he
was
got
the
better
guy.
ever since he rejoined the band.
So does his playing still surprise you?
It doesn't surprise me. I've known how great he was since I was 15, but it's just a pleasure to be standing next to him when he takes off like that. I mean, you can see the young guitar players with their mouths open when Mr. Bachman starts to solo, and they're all going like this. You know, the young guitar players are all going like this. I mean, this was the original great guitar player. This guy is up there with Eddie Van Halen and Eric Clapton and Reeves Gabrels, and I mean, the best. He's one of the best guys there is. He draws all of us up a step because he's that good.
This is a great band to play with. A lot of bands, when I'm jamming or playing with another band, the rhythm section kind of falls apart, and I find myself going down to play rhythm and hold it together. These guys, they hold it together. It allows me to just play around on top, and it's really a great combination. I really feel at home, and I feel free to kind of do some stuff. It's really great.
I hate to turn this into a mutual admiration society, but, you know, they're talking about your guitar playing. What about Burton's voice after all these years?
I've said it in many interviews. I think he's one of the top 3 great rock singers in the world, and always has been. The only one I could compare him to is Steven Tyler, who's still doing it and can do a ballad to make you cry and scream his head off to make you jump a foot in the air in the next song and then go back to a ballad. And to be next to Burton, and just even in the rehearsals for a solid month, to see him hit every note and never be sharp or flat. You know, when you produce records, you're used to a lot of sharps and flats. He just hits everything right on with the most incredible tone and voice and everything, and it's just great.
Even when he has insomnia?
Yeah. He complains a little bit. He comes across. He does it. You know, he can deliver. He will.
It seemed to take on the tour, as it went on, as almost this Canadian pride thing.
Some nights it almost felt like more than a concert. It was more like a cultural event. You know, you expect to get reviewed after a show. You don't expect to be on the front page every day, week after week. I mean, I collected the newspapers, and I'm going to put them all on a wall and verathane them there forever, because I have never, ever, in my long, illustrious career, I have never, ever, ever seen that kind of press on anything. Winnipeg, God, we...
Got our own magazine. The insert was a 7-page thing before we did the concert. It was pretty incredible.
So
Hometown
terrified
boys got
in
it good.
Winnipeg.
Yeah.
I said to the guys, you know, how are we ever going to live up to this hype? There was 7 pages on us in the Winnipeg Free Press the day before the show. And so you're right. To go back to your original statement, it became more than just a series of concerts. It was almost some nights like a cultural event in some of these cities and towns. And there was a wonderful feeling of Canadiana, as it were.
No kidding.
You know, and we're proud of that. I mean, hell, we toured all over the world, and we were always introduced as the Guess Who from Winnipeg, Manitoba, Canada, always, with pride, in Australia and New Zealand and Tokyo and everywhere. We always made sure that the MC said that we were from Winnipeg, Manitoba, Canada, always.
Which is
Nothing to be
something
ashamed of about that.
Which is something you touch on, actually, in this piece of tape. Ready to time travel about 30 years here?
Oh, great. Here we go.
Roll it.
You know why I refuse, it's my pride. Oh, baby, you know it, it's my pride. Yeah.
Let's go! Here's the Winnipeg. Let's go with Canada's #1 hit makers, the Guess Who. Burning kisses in the oven.
Nice hair. When do you have to have it back?
Hear the voice that whispered, I can't stay.
That's back in the era when nobody could afford a long strap.
It's a Disney movie. Look at this.
Cry every night.
If they looked in that hair, they might find Jimmy Hoffa.
Long to hold you again.
This is a gold record. To get it, to sell 1 million records, and it belongs to our very special guests, the Guess Who, a group of boys from Winnipeg who are making it very big down in the United States.
Oh my God, the dating. That's the LA one with somebody else in the video on drums. Peterson wasn't there for this.
It was too late. No sugar tonight in my coffee. No sugar tonight in my tea. No sugar to stand beside me. No sugar to run with me.
The odds are so crazy that a group should come from Winnipeg. I mean, really, now, seriously, Winnipeg is in the middle of the prairies of Canada. What does that mean to somebody in L.A. or Chicago? Barren wasteland. And then we tried to let on at first that we were maybe from a bigger city or something like that. And after it got bigger and bigger for the group, we started saying more and more, yeah, Winnipeg, yeah. Where do you live, Winnipeg? Yeah, Winnipeg.
The laundry hanging in the background. Oh, in your basement.
So, not only the first band to receive a platinum record, but I'm thinking the first band in Canada to make a video. What were some of those clips?
Before they were called videos, they were just little films. That part of that footage I haven't seen since we did it. That was done at the Griffith Park Observatory in L.A. And we happened to be in L.A. doing American Bandstand, getting a gold record, and Gary's ears were hurting him and he couldn't fly, and there was a different guy on drums, and oh my goodness. Yeah, a long time ago, man, over 30 years, before there was much music, before there was MTV or VH1 or anything like that.
I think it's important for people to realize, too, that, you know, people talk about this Canadian music industry. You were the Canadian music industry for a while. No other artists in Canada at that time, collectively, sold more than the Guess Who. You were outselling everybody.
Yeah, we were outselling everybody. We were selling about 10,000 copies. We were outselling everybody.
You're not supposed to say that part, though.
Well, there was just no such thing as a unified industry. We were getting Juno Awards before they were called Juno Awards. They were called RPM Gold Leaf Awards, and they were just little wooden things about this big. We have tons of them because we won every year. There was no one coming up against us. There wasn't a booming industry the way there is today with since then, you know, Loverboy and Brian and Celine and Alanis and Shania and Tea Party and God knows how many incredible Canadian acts. You know, I mean, there was us and the Staccatos, basically.
Do you feel maybe you paved the way for some of these artists?
Well, yeah. Yeah.
Well,
in a word, yes. No, I mean, we had this deep down dream and desire, and being from Winnipeg, like, you had to get in your car and go somewhere. We went to Minneapolis to record, we came to Toronto, we went to Vancouver, and we'd get in the car and drive to New York and play a gig and drive home. We did really crazy things, but it was the dream that kept us going, and in a way we paved this road that you want, Trans-Canada Highway. We just kind of went into the forest and knocked down trees and made a road for ourselves.
There was one point when we actually played 27 nights in a row without a night off in a different town every night, and we were doing 4 one-hour shows a night. And I'm thinking to myself, how in the world did I sing 4 one-hour shows a night? Well, it's easy. I was 18. That's how I did it, you know. But you think of it now, it's like insane what we did. But that's why we have gold records. I'm not meaning that to sound arrogant. That's just fact, you know. Way back, before there was video to help a band out, before there was Ottawa giving you grants to cut records, we went and did all that under our own steam. And, you know, I found when I was 19 years old, we were stranded in England without enough money to buy tickets to come home to Winnipeg. That's how bad it got at one point.
And we loved every minute of it.
And all of us switching to acoustic. Let's do Glamour Boy. I think I could probably nail it now. I'm a little bit opened up, but I don't want to sing too much before. Once Glamour Boy's out of the way, then I'll feel a little better. It's just tough. It's a tough one to sing. And when you haven't slept, it's damn near impossible.
Boy, get your costume on. You got 'em lined up and waiting for you, glamour boy. You got 'em standing in the aisle, so don't hang 'em up. For $25,000, you can look like a woman tonight. $25,000, I think it'll work out right. Think it'll work out. Think it'll work out. Oh, you never know how you ride it. Think it'll work out, yeah, yeah. Glamour boy, been tops for a while with $1 million smile. Glamour boy, you got rave reviews and your front page news. $37,000, you can look like your sister tonight. $37,000, I think it'll work out right. Think it'll work out. I think it'll work out. Yeah. You never know how you ride it. Think it'll work out. Yeah, look around. So smile with the arching now and laugh in his face as he cocks his bow. going downhill, glamour boy. You got the sales to tell when you see your old friends. $49,000, you can look like a woman tonight. $49,000, I think it'll work out right. Think it'll work out. Think it'll work out. Oh, you never know how you write it. Think it'll work out, yeah, yeah. So spin with the archer now and laugh in his face as he cocks his bow, and steal from his mistress as she's making love to your family. And be aware that there's not many there who want to take time to sing it, playing on the song for the people no more. Not trying to take time to sing it, playing on the song for the people tonight. Come on in, take time to sing and play. You dance around, baby, chase my blues away. Come on, take time to sing on the song. All along, baby, won't take long. You got to take time to sing on the song for the people tonight.
Prior to the string of radio hits that was happening, was it true that DJs initially thought you were British?
When we had Shaken All Over, and George Struth at Quality Records decided to put the words Guess Who on the label, because he really didn't want the people to know, the DJs to know that we were from Winnipeg, because our previous, I don't know how many singles we had before that, really didn't get any airplay. And there was this magic in this song, Shaken All Over. And he thought, boy, if he put it out and put Guess Who on it, people would be guessing who it was, and they would think it was one of the Stones and one of the Beatles and one from a guy at a party. Remember how that legend about the song Telstar recorded in Joe Meek's kitchen at a party? It was a #1 record. He was hoping that kind of thing would happen. And he put it out, and it did happen. The song was literally, I don't know, a couple of weeks. It was #1 in many stations across Canada. And it worked. We didn't want to be called the Guess Who. We tried to do a follow-up record and use our other band name. It didn't work. We had to put Guess Who on it and put the in front of it sometimes. And
stupid name.
And
yeah.
I never liked the name, but you guys had the name long before I was
we never
there.
liked the name. We didn't choose this name. It's like if we suddenly said, you don't look like Bill, your name's got to be Stanley or something. No offense to any Stans out there. You know what I mean? It's like somebody imposing a name on you. But we really had no choice. It was professional suicide. We tried using the other name. It didn't work. We couldn't get any airplay.
Yeah.
But it did work. People thought we were British. And
was there a rivalry touched off with the Real Who, though?
yeah, we went to England in '67 with Terry David Mulligan came with us. He was an aspiring young DJ then.
We met them.
We met the Who at the Marquee Club and sat around, and they blew our brains out doing Happy Jack for a couple of hours. And we said something like, we want to have... Stop using the name. It's confusing.
You know what? There's a piece of film that exists somewhere. God knows what I give this arm to here to have that film. Somebody filmed us meeting them in 1967. I was 19. You were like 22 or whatever. And it was the Guess Who meeting the Who. And it was a little club called, was it the Revolution Club? Or I can't remember where it was.
Well, they played at the Marquee Club.
But this was a private filming.
The private thing, yeah.
And they blew up the drum kit, and Townsend smashed the hell out of everything. And there were like 4 people in the room watching. There was 2 guys on camera and sound, and the 4 of us in the band, and that was it. And we were 10 feet away. We were as close as I am to you. They were full volume. I couldn't hear for 2 days. But somewhere there is a film of us meeting the Who when I was still a teenager, and everybody was really young. It was 1967.
Did John Entwistle really say something to the effect of, can we all just get along?
We said, we want you to stop using the name, go back to using the high numbers, or the detours, whatever they were called. And I think it was Entwistle who said, look, there's the Yardbirds and the Birds, there could be the Guess Who and the Who. Bugger off is what he said. It became kind of a joke. Later we played together the Ringo Starr's All-Star Band and opened the Hard Rock in Vancouver and did Shakin' All Over with me and him playing bass. It was really cool. But the first time he and I saw each other, we said, bugger off. It was like, it's a British thing. It means something different than it does here.
And I'm wondering if a few years later, if people were coming up to Roger Daltrey and say, you know, can you do Undone? Can you do...
Well, when we came home from the State, Burton said we were there in '67 and broke and loving every minute. We came home broke and we had canceled all our gigs. We went to England to be big, and we came home not big. And we started smashing our stuff. And it got crowds back to the community centers in Winnipeg. I also know that when the Who toured here, I think the following year, everyone was yelling for them to do Shakin' All Over. They started to do it, and then became one of their songs. It's on their Live at Leeds album.
Live at Leeds, yeah.
And it just became this whole thing where people were asking us for My Generation, and we did it and smashed everything. And Gary had hatchets and axes, chopping his drums, and threw them all over. And whatever we could do to get the kids through the door and get that $2 admission, we did it.
A lot of milestones this band has reached, a couple being the first platinum record ever awarded in Canada was to this band. There's the performance at the White House, which we'll talk about in a second. You were saying one of your favorite gigs ever was in '69 at the Seattle Pop Festival.
That was an incredible weekend, 3 days, and we were on every single day. And we were kind of a young band. We were on in the afternoon, probably 3 or 4 o'clock in the afternoon.
The only record we had at the time was These Eyes. I don't even think Laughing was out yet.
We did play American Woman there, and they...
Well, yeah, but we had written a bunch. We were doing Friends of Mine for 10 minutes, but the only hit per se that we had at that point was These Eyes. I don't even think Laughing and Undone, which followed These Eyes, had been released yet, because it was May of '69. I mean, this thing was way better than Woodstock, but nobody filmed it.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, for 3 days we saw, Frank Zappa and the Mothers and Alice Cooper and Charles Lloyd Quartet, the original guys with Cecil McBee and Jack DeJohnette and Keith Jarrett, like astounding players.
Zeppelin's first tour,
Chuck
I think,
Berry,
too,
Bo
right?
Diddley, Led Zeppelin, The Doors, the Vanilla Fudge, the Burrito Brothers, the Byrds, the Youngbloods,
Ike and Tina.
Chicago, Ike and Tina Turner Review. I mean, it just went on and on and on for 3 days. There was a huge bevy of stars for 3 days and nights. That was an amazing time. And there was an artists' area backstage, and there was a big bonfire. And there you'd see like 20 guys sitting around, Jim McGuinn and Chris Hillman and a couple guys from Vanilla Fudge, and they were all sitting around playing Hummingbirds and singing these Western songs around the campfire. It was really astounding.
And it was a nice fire, not like the Woodstock last year fires. This was a nice fire.
Those were the days of peace and love.
There's good fires and there's bad fires. That was a good fire.
There were no cell phones at the original Woodstock. Hey, folks, that ship has sailed. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
They're marketing raincoats with that dove on the guitar neck on TV. I don't know. I think we had it better. Sorry, video generation. I think we had it better.
Did this band play American Woman at the White House or not? There's conflicting reports.
No.
That you did do it.
We didn't do it, but the thing was, this was we had a very, we had a manager at the time with very limited vision, you know.
Quasimodo.
Very limited vision artistically, and he thought it would be a real coup if we told the press that the Nixons said, don't play American Woman. The Nixons didn't give a shit, you know. We could have played anything we wanted, but the manager thought it would be really cool if we told the press that, oh, we played the White House and Nixons said we couldn't play American Woman. So we didn't do it, and the whole thing backfired anyway. It was the worst career move ever. We got crucified in Rolling Stone for even going there because everyone hated the Nixon administration. We got crucified by FM radio, and we lost a good 2 years' momentum just for going there and playing. I mean, it was kind of cool to see the White House, but it was a terrible career move. It really worked against us for years.
Are you surprised at the legs that song has grown over the past, 25...
American Woman?
Yeah. Almost 30 years, because it will not go away.
The life of any song that goes beyond the normal duration, which is maybe 6 months to a year. There's one thing that it gets recut by another artist in 5 or 10 years, as a lot of old songs do. But it coming back this year is sort of, in many life forms, anthemic style, like first in Jim Carrey's Cable Guy, and then Mike Myers, who we just met in the lobby, and thanked him for using the song.
At your hotel yesterday, I hear, yeah.
Yeah, and for using American Woman, and then it evolving to our version being in Austin Powers 2, and then Lenny Kravitz.
Let us not forget, it was in American Beauty, which took the Oscar for Picture of the Year. And I'm proud to say that Kevin Spacey mouthed along with my voice for about a minute and a half. Thank you all very much. That's why he got the Oscar.
More importantly, too, I think, is it was recently voted the #1 rock song in Canada of all time.
Of all time, yeah. Well, that was pretty cool. Actually, we had two in the top 10, I think.
There's a BTO song in there, too?
Well, then 3, if you count that one. That's right. Yeah. Because I think These Eyes made the list.
These Eyes was there.
These Eyes made the list, and Taking Care of Business and American Woman are, good Lord, we had a lot of them.
I have to ask, where did that riff come from?
American Woman?
Yeah.
I think it was in Kitchener, Ontario, or some little town in Ontario.
Broom and Stone Club, wherever that used to be.
And I broke a string on the guitar and didn't have a tech, we had like one guy who did everything. And when you're playing a dance, there's no big deal. You go and say, I broke a string, we're taking a break. And we took a break, and I put on a new string, and I started to play it, and we started to jam. Burton came on stage and said, what are we doing? I said, we're jamming. This was like when we wanted to do 10-minute songs. We've been playing with Seeing the Dead and played tours with the Jefferson Airplane and stuff, and they stood around the circle, Jefferson Airplane, Cassidy and Yorma and these guys, and they kind of jammed and did these weird raga riffs. And I just said, we're jamming, and Burton played a piano solo, a harmonica solo, a flute solo, and then I yelled out, sing something. And I think first words out of his mouth were American Woman, Stay Away From Me 4 or 5 times, and we kept playing the song because, wanted to remember it. I knew it was a moment. I mean, you could see the crowd reacting to the song, and it was done, and we did it the next night, and we did it at the Seattle Pop Festival. That was on the way to record it. We did it at the Seattle Pop Festival, and we had a hard time recording the song in the studio.
Most songs are born that way, I think,
jam, yeah.
In this situation, songs sort of meander this way, and then a song is born there, and then it goes this way, but what was that riff again there, Randy?
Listen what I say. Go. Gotta get away now. Go.
Fox Searchlight Picture. Came from piano. Now, I'm supposedly the piano player in this band. Everybody always thought, because I'm the piano player, that I made up. Not so. He came to my mother and grandmother's house when I was still living at home in Winnipeg one day, and he sat down at the piano and said, look, I got this riff here. Watch this. And he sits down and he goes... I'm thinking, holy God, that's pretty good for a guitar player. Like minor seventh, you know, to a major seventh, to a major. So he actually, you know, I came up with, and he came up with. It's like trading. We used to trade all the time like that. It was very cool.
Are they like gifts from God, just falling in your lap like that?
A lot of them are gifts, and a lot of times, you ever see this, what's on TV called concentration, or you get pairs of cards and turn them face down, and Burton will, like he turns a card over and it's an 8, and I'll say, oh, I know where the 8 is, and I reach over and pick up the one that goes with it, and it's almost that way with pieces of songs. They're all kind of face down. We kind of know where they are in our mind. We have our little pieces, and we get together, and I turn over an ace, he turns over an ace, and we put it together, and they kind of match. And a lot of them are really like gifts from God. They're just, if you let it flow,
Neil
some
Young
incredible songs, things come right through. You just kind of channel it. And you're so amazed that I go to him and play, have you heard this before? Have you heard this before? Have you heard that? You ask everybody around you, they heard it before? And if it becomes no, it's your song. If somebody stops you along the way with a lawsuit, it ain't your song.
Neil Young said a very interesting thing about songwriting. In some interview I read years ago, at least 10 or 15 years ago, he said when he's writing a song, it's like it's coming from somewhere else through him. I feel like that most of the time, because they just, all of a sudden they're there. A lot of times I'll just sit with my eyes closed, let my hands go wherever they want to go, and all of a sudden the song is done. You know, I think the best songs are the quickest ones.
Most of our songs were literally 10, 15, 20 minutes for 90% of the song. And as you take it and you play it and it gets better, you write a third verse, you know what I mean? But the song pretty much comes together just really quickly, just like that. And we kind of have an instinct that we know the parts fit together.
Well, listen, guys, thank you so much. I've enjoyed it. I know everyone watching has really enjoyed it as well. But enough talk. How about some more music?
The morning, but I can see the light. Try, let it ride. While you've been out running, I've been waiting half the night. Try, let it ride. And would you cry if I told you that I lied? Would you say goodbye? Would you let it ride? Let it ride, would you let it ride? Goodbye. Don't say goodbye. Let it ride. Don't cry, won't you let it ride? Seems my life is not complete. I never see you smile. Try, let it ride. Baby, you want the forgiving kind, but that's just not my style. Try, let it ride. And would you cry if I told you that I lied? Would you let it ride? Would you let it ride? Would you let it ride? Goodbye. Don't say goodbye. Just let it ride. Don't cry. Would you let it ride? Worthwhile, and I've been booking time. Try to let it ride. Running with a crazy crowd who ain't no friends of mine. Try to let it ride. And would you cry if I told you that I lied? Would you say goodbye? Or would you let it ride? Would you let it ride? Would you let it ride? Goodbye. Don't say goodbye. Let it ride. Don't cry. let it ride? Won't you let it ride? Won't you let it ride? Would you let it ride? Don't say goodbye.